folks doing today? From the ride here in the S.E.E channel. Let me get this out of there. All right. I'm just waiting for this thing. It's a little delayed on this end. Oh, yes. All right. There's that. Trying to get everything up, down, sideways, ready to roll. And let's get the mic out of the way. It's just like right there, always in my view. So how's everyone doing this week? It's an interesting week to say the least, with the wars going on and oil prices going up. I think that's on everyone's mind right now, because as we know, through the movie of Land, or the television show there, Landman, oil is in everything in our lives, and whether we want to hear it or not, it's going to affect us going forward. Granted, I don't care for the Islamic Nation and Iran over there, but right now my concern is America, and the fact that we have a bunch of boneheads in Washington, D.C. across the board, both sides of the party and at the Pentagon. These guys are a bunch of clusterfucks, and talk about just ruining everyone's lives throughout the world. And don't think for 1 minute that these people are just going to be like, hey, thanks for coming in and bombing us. And so I heard, I think he's going to be backpedaling in a speech today. I didn't listen to it or watch it, but he was supposed to have come out around 5:30, 5 o'clock, Trump, and talk about the dealings in Iran. And it sounds like they're going to be pulling back. Whatever. I'm at the point of pretty sick and disgusted with it. People here are fatigued from wars through the whole 20th century, from World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Cold War, and then the Iraqi War. We're done. And they had kind of had some whispers about the draft, and I think that kind of nixed it right there. Basically, this was a Israeli war. We were just going over there and foddering for Israel, and I'm telling you, that country there, I'm sure they've got good citizens, but their government, like ours, is just garbage. And this is the one and few times you're going to see me talk about politics, but right now it's affecting everyone's lives. And the thing of it is these high prices that we're going to see, from gas pumps to commodities to manufacturing, and what's really going to hurt is the food, and the food's going to get affected here because the farmers' prices of what oil is in their diesel, the hydraulics, the oils, and all that they use for the equipment, but also in the fertilizers and pesticides and all this other stuff they use for farming. That's integrated into those products, and it's going to drive the prices up. And it's going to really, a lot of farmers right now, I've been watching this guy on YouTube, and, there are farmers just getting out of the business. They're selling their land at a premium price to let it get developed out, kind of like what the Dutch farmers did on their revolt a couple years, 2-3 years ago. The government was forcing them out of their farms to take their land over. Well, the farmers here are just like, the hell with it. If you thought margins in trucking was downright freaking horrible, get into farming. you sneeze the wrong way and you lost your, your yield, your profits, everything's out the door. It is that fine line that your margins are under a microscope just to break even year after year. And I've watched two farmers. There's a few people that do farming channels. The one I've been following, I want to say pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, was a Walker Farms with the big buds. And those guys are just taking old iron, fixing it up. They're not going out and leveraging up on, $1 million combines and all this other jazz. They're fixing and repairing and keeping the farm going as it was 50, 7,500 years ago. And now people just, they got the John, these guys fix their own stuff in the field when it goes down, whereas a lot of other farmers, they got to call the dealership and they got to come out with the machine stuck out in the field and pay the premium prices for maintenance and mechanic repairs. That's the problem with John Deere, and that's the problem I have with John Deere is you're right to work on. They've taken it away, and I compliment the Walkers for running the big buds and being able to continue to fix and keep their equipment going and farm, a few thousand acres. So, so oil prices are going to affect that sector. That's going to raise groceries later on, if not, as we go along. I don't know. You could sit here and be triggered by it, or as I've been saying right along, and there's a couple channels yesterday preached that, and that was there's not a lot of things you can control out there. And as I've been saying, and what these folks have been saying, is you can't control a lot of what, like, the government's going to go do what the government's going to do. The entertainers, these billionaires and millionaires, they're going to go out there and do what they want to do. Then there's us. And we just need to, I want to say fence and corral our ecosystem of our personal economy and focus on it and have growth within it to be sustainable and stay ahead of inflation and having money and, having some reserves to cover like medical expenses, a broken refrigerator, a down furnace in your house, vehicle repairs. But, that's where you should be. In our country, and I was just dwelling on it today, that our country it went from the powerhouse 125 years ago, being the powerhouse of manufacturing, to now all we do is we're a consumer debting nation. We consume and we just rack up debt. We make nothing here anymore that really is substantial in the world. When you look at farming, most of the farming here gets exported anyways. But then you look at manufacturing, China, the Asian countries, the Pacific Rim, they all are the manufacturing hubs of the world. So you gotta just kind of go back to the way people used to think and the way they thought, 75 years ago, 80 years ago, 100 years ago. And not so much through the 1920s. That was the swing era. That's when they were spending money, leading into, people were racking up debt, leading into, the Great Depression and all that. But you'd have to look at people that knew how to navigate, survive, and rise up through the Great Depression. And you have to be producer savers. You have to be functioning and producing, working, generating money, cash flow and money. And get over here. I thought I was in the comment section, and I was not. Hello, Miss Laura. I looked over and I didn't see the comments. I was still in the banner section. I have to show Miss Laura's never seen Streamlab laid out. I don't know if you have or not, but we're working towards, we're paying off one debt so we can put in, we will when I get my debts in order here in about another 2-3 months, we are going to expand on the high end of Streamlab and be able to use everything they have in there, be able to grow that. So where was I at before I got squirrel? People need to go back and well, they need to take that concept of producer savers. You need to be cash flowing, generating money, hoarding things. I want to say necessities, things. I remember my grandfather even saying faintly was they never threw scrap metal away. They hung on the metal, any alloys for any repairs around the house, the vehicles. They never threw anything away because it was a resource that they couldn't get their hand on because there was such a scarcity during World War II for metal and all that jazz that they hung on to everything to repurpose it. Therefore, you saved money. You saved, you put your money, if the cash wasn't worth anything, you put it into assets that grew in value. Whether it was gold and silver back then, they did that. It could have been real estate. It could have been something that for some people, especially like in Venezuela, when they went to a socialistic government, that's a good example of how socialism doesn't work. People survive by investing their money. Instead of buying food for the day, they would spend their money on goats, chickens, because the goats, you could get goat milk, you could get eggs from chickens, and then when the chickens cycled, chickens can only, they have a lifespan, and then you could pluck them and eat them and all that jazz. So they had a dual purpose, and that's how you got to expand your money, and that's how people did it back then and through the 1930s. Is they hung on to scrap stuff, wood, metal, anything that they could do, like I said, repairs without going out and spending more money when times were tough through that era. And never let food go to waste. You grew your own food, you gardened, you did everything. You were self-sustaining. And that's what I'm getting at, is in your own ecosystem, you have to build your economy within your ecosystem there to be self-sustaining all around, everything, monetarily, health, mental and physical health, food. You just need to be on top of it. This what has happened over in the Middle East is going to reverb and come back and bite every single one of us in the butt in inflation. It's coming, and it's going to come with a vengeance now. And we're going to see it here soon. And I was listening to Rowan over there at another channel, and he was talking about diesel prices. And I've been hearing, rhetoric of diesel prices jumping up. But right now, they jumped up. The average diesel price average across the United States is around $5 a gallon. On average, it went up since February 2nd to currently this week. It's gone up $1.25, $1.20 that it's gone up over the last 4 or 5 weeks. So that is going to put strain on companies. That is going to put strain on trucking companies that run on tight margins already. Fuel is the worst enemy for trucking companies, because it's volatility to be up and down on such a hard swing. I remember in the 80s that fuel prices would only move 2, 3, maybe 5 cents at a time. But now we're talking like a swing that could be $1 overnight is detrimental. And, another guy was talking about freight rates are up. Is it here to last, or is this just a dopamine fix for now? And I want to believe that's what it is. Freight rates are up, but I can assure you that they're going to taper down, and there's going to be a lot of pullback There's going to be companies now, if these fuel prices don't get under control within 2 weeks, I think you're going to see more companies are going to, it may shut down the small companies. The bigger companies are going to be more on the drivers to fuel savings, watching, micromanaging and watching how their driving habits are. What else? They're going to consolidate, and I think we may see that even where I'm at, where you're not going to send an LTL load like a half a truck this direction for a route and a half a truck this direction for the route. Like, if fuel prices are going to smash or go up so as they are right now, up so high that it's going to smash your profits, that you need to start either charging, like these companies are going to have to charge higher rates. Right now, what did he say? His trucks were averaging 47 cents a mile is what it was costing him. And then, of course, above that was the driver's wages. But now, after all this happened over the weekend, it jumped to 63 cents a mile for him to run a load. So when he takes in a load, he's got to factor in now from 47 cents to 63 cents per mile, along with the driver's wages per mile, and then factor in when he's got a bid on a load. And, that can be, what did he say? For 1,000-mile one-way run, that's an additional $190 onto that load. So that's what we're looking at currently. And if these prices don't get a hold of and they continue to climb up, we're only going to see more in these fees of trucking and trucking companies going down. And when I say go down, I mean they're going to be down and out. Whether they pull back, take trucks off the road, consolidate their freight, don't take certain freight, and or they just go out of business, period. Because the high fuel prices can and has bankrupt and put trucking companies out of business. I've talked to guys, when I started in trucking back in the 80s, I had mechanics and drivers that survived and went through the 1974 oil crisis, the OPEC embargo, oil embargo from OPEC. And there was a trucker strike across the board. That was like the last big trucker strike holdup in, the 1970s. But since then, there's been, everyone talks about, we should go on strike, we should do this or that. Now, I'm here at Dudley's in Rocky Mount, Virginia, and we're talking about fuel prices. I'm looking over at the sign right now. I haven't really, because there's been a truck right here next to me. He left. It's $3.19 for gasoline, and it's $4.69 for diesel per gallon. So it, significantly has jumped up. It's really going to hit us hard, and these companies are going to have to get in front of this. They're going to have to, especially like for us, and I'm thinking more for us, we're going to have to watch that we're not just running out of our way for a few pieces, because like I can come out here and do 18, 19 stops, or I can come out and do 10 stops. But each stop should have a significant amount of product that's going to pay for itself at each stop, instead of just coming in with a couple pieces. That's just the way we operate. Not so much a same day delivery, but it's that within, when you put the order in, you will get it the next week from our, distribution right to your doorstep. And there's no cross docking or any of that third party carrier. It gets handled, so less hands touching the products. But a lot of these other companies are going to have to start factoring in higher prices for themselves, carriers, to run these trucks. And these brokers, they better hang on and or grab their bootstraps with some Vaseline, because if they're not willing, a lot of these guys aren't going to go out and just run this shit for free. And I know TQL and CH Robinson, they're just the most nefarious people to ever work with. And they, even during a freight recession or even high oil prices, they still seem to want to screw everyone over because, those SOBs just love raping every truck driver and carrier out here for, a buck. They're kind of like what you would say, you could call them to the whores of freight brokerage, because they'll do anything for a buck and screw over that driver. So that's my take on it. But is anybody got any questions out here? I'm kind of open for any discussion. If anybody's got something on their mind or what's been going on. Today's been a good day this week. Finally, yesterday and today's been blue skies. I've had to run the AC today. Midday right up to 6 o'clock tonight. It was 75 degrees. So we are basking into the nice warm weather and enjoying it down here, especially in Virginia. The wife had sent me video and pictures of her and the dogs out on the deck taking in the sunshine, and it hit 73 where she up at our house. But no, other than that, anything else new out there? Like I said, it's been just a mediocre week. Nothing eventful. It's almost same kind of run as I had last week. I expect next week will be a little busier because I've got customers that a couple of them have called, but I said, you're not on my trailer this week. So they put an order in, but the product probably wasn't there on the floor for them to receive it this week. So I'd probably be making a visit to some outlying customers next week. But take that away. I got home last Wednesday night. The wife and I said we're going to get this done by noon Thursday. So we probably put in 2-3 dozen documents we sent out to Phoenix, Arizona, to a lender, and we're just sitting on the edge of our seats right now waiting to hear back from them, as we are putting in a bid for a house out there. And I'm pretty much leaning on what I may end up doing when I do make the move out there is I'm probably going to go back to not only doing our home-based businesses, which doesn't entail much effort, but I may take up a county job as a diesel mechanic. So I'm looking at it like an equipment mechanic, heavy equipment to trucks or what have you. I got a phone conversation. I want to say they called, the county out there we're going to be living in, they called me for an application I put in a while back, and for a facilities maintenance manager to oversee building maintenance and all that. I said, I really can't come out and do the interview. I said, why don't you pass me up and move on to the next person? I said, I'm not ready to move. I'm still in Michigan. They go, oh man. So, but the lady there did give me a moment of her time to talk to me about, with my experience and everything she saw on the resume, to put in certain departments are really looking for someone with my work experience. So I'm not going to have a problem. And I'd like to be, if I'm going to do a W-2, I'm probably just going to do like the county job, government job entity. That way, get some good benefits and all that. But just something I can work 8 hours a day, come home, and not deal with the rat race of trucking and being out on the road. But yeah, that'll probably happen after I get out there. I don't want to wave any flags at them until such a time. I still have to, now that the weather's breaking, I'm getting a car up for sale. Probably live stream here this week. I've got to do some repairs, oil change, tire rotation, look over my my red daily driver, my Ford Fusion. We're putting that up for sale. So that's going to be up here for sale. And I'm not taking that out there. I'm only taking right now. We're just going to take my Ram and her Toyota Highlander when we move. So that car is going to get put up for sale here in the next 7 to 10 days or so. Maybe within the next 2 weeks, it's going to be up on the market. And I'll put some pictures of it on the community post because I'm going to kind of just, I'm not really going to go into the marketplace right away. I'm just going to feel out some friends and that, see if anyone needs a daily. I'm probably looking at around, it's got 154,000 miles. Nothing wrong with the car. It's just, it's a 2012 Ford Fusion Sport. 6-year ceramic coat. I've got all the repair receipts over the years we've had it. We've had it for like 13 years. And yeah, it's had the best of everything put on it when it's been repaired. I've never skimped on that because we've taken that car through Ontario, Niagara Falls. We've gone on road trips West Virginia to Ohio and all that. So that's not a car that I'm going to put Taiwanese parts on it just to, that would be something that would be a daily driver that I'm just driving locally. But the car's well maintained. There's no oil leaks, no problems. There's no nothing. I just don't need a third car going out there. And we've used that more as our daily, but it's a good solid car. I figured $6,900 would make someone a good, reliable commuter and or something for their kid, whether they're going off to college or what have you. So that's going to be up, and then we're liquidating. Probably about 90% of the stuff in our house is going to be up for sale in a moving sale coming up here in probably another 4 to 5 weeks. We'll have one moving sale and then another one towards Memorial Weekend. It's like we have got to let go of a lot of stuff and get a storage locker here at the end of this month so I can get the stuff we are taking out of the house to kind of tamper it down and declutter it in a way that it looks a little more roomy. So we got a lot of work ahead. And on top of that, I got to do probably some staining some decks and probably put a few windows in. We're having the HOA manager is going to come over and assess our house because she sells all the houses within our community. So she said she'd like to just walk me around and just show me what needs to be updated. She don't want me to put a whole lot of money in it because it's not going to help the value any more than where it sits right currently. So we've done quite a bit to that house, but it's too much house for us. And I don't really need a big house because I'm looking more towards fulfilling my bucket list on traveling and doing more adventurous things, the wife and I, whether we invest in a side-by-side when we're out there, being able to hit the desert in Arizona to up in the Utah, Moab and Hurricane and all that stuff. So we are got a lot of plans, and then Vegas is right close by. Can go up to SEMA and some other car events or other shows because a lot of that trade show events usually happen in Vegas, a lot of the national ones. Barrett Jackson there in Scottsdale. So a lot of places I can go do content and just do all kinds of different things. And kind of hard to do that between November and Easter in Michigan because everything just flips on the lid. It's overcast and cloudy the majority of the time all through winter. It's cold, it's miserable, and it's just gloomy. And you can only get in some good outdoor content usually about April, like Easter, till about Halloween. So, and that's about it. And then you're kind of stuck inside. Not a big fan of it. So looking forward to this move and getting things ready to rock and roll. So yeah, we're just waiting. And yeah, I'll be out in the garage. I got to do the oil and filter showed up. So everything's there. I just got to get on that car. And then I'm already got a 6-year ceramic coat I put on it. And I'm going to give it another buff with paint sealant over top of that. And just to get this winter's dinge off it. Getting everything else in the house taken care of. But I'll hang on to my CDL if I do position myself into as a mechanic. I did, I want to say, when was it, Lord? Yeah, it was 2020. Before I came back here to this company, I was with Ryder Logistics, driving for them for a couple years. And because of my because of my mechanic's license and diesel truck repair experience, um, a lot of the guys at my home shop wanted me, they said, hey, why don't you, they got me in for an interview. Basically, I should have had the job. They now look back and said, we should have hired you because you got mechanical experience. You could have got in and done, regular work like this truck being in. It went in last week. They didn't do the PM in Bristol, Tennessee a month ago, or 3 weeks ago. They did the air filter and the fuel water separator change, but they didn't do the oil filters and grease the truck. So the home shop did. So when I got back Wednesday night, I just dropped my trailer in the dock, parked my truck off to the side. So the boss man, he ran it down. They ended up changing oil filters, greasing it. And I ended up with, I ended up getting new steer tires, but they also put new front brakes on the axle. And they're going to put all new shocks on it. They had to order the shocks. So there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 new shocks, 4 in the back, 2 in the front here. So that'll be coming up. So I'll have to swing by there and get them in when they have them in. I'll probably check with them tomorrow or Wednesday and see if they got them in. Other than that, just keeping this truck's running good now. They got it. They even fixed, when it was in last week, they even fixed my TPS, which has been going on and off, tire pressure sensor. One of the tires back here keeps, I think when they flip-flop some tires, they didn't resync them for this to know which tire's which. And so whatever they did, they fixed it. So it's been 2 days and the light hasn't come on. So that's good. Other than that, truck's running good. Weather's going good. It's warm down here. Life's good. Even though when you look at the world and the economy, it's basically crumbling around. It's like it's like you're coming out of a barrel of shit, smoking a cigar, carrying a box of roses, just smelling like roses. And I don't know. It's just like I said, if you just stay in your lane, do you keep yourself focused on your economy and don't let that outside factors get you triggered. 2 things that'll trigger me all the time. Well, healthcare is just a brouhaha joke in this country. And then, of course, politics. But I'm like, you know what? The thing about living in this country is they sell you on the propaganda. They sell you on buy into our healthcare, buy our health insurance, buy our pharmaceuticals, borrow money from our banks, go into debt, stay in the debt, and be a debt slave. That's basically slavery's alive. And that's how they're doing it. And if you don't participate in their system and you build your own system, like I said, your own ecosystem with your economy inside of it, where you can manage your money and you can function without being dependent on everything they got to offer. You go and you make the right decisions to healthy eating, to take care of your physical health, keep your mental health in check, not by letting the outside forces come in and trigger you, and let all this negativity. But there's good in the world. It's just that the ones that are ruining it is the people that are after the power and the greed and the hegemony of just being this person, or the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, JP Morgan, these guys that the I want to say the non-government official, the NGOs, these people that dictate to our government, that we should do, which way we should be functioning as a society. And it's sad, but I just say keep keep your wits about yourself and just keep moving forward. And your economy may not be as like your neighbor. Your neighbor may be out buying a new F450 and you're still driving a 2010, half ton. And just be blessed and thankful you have that truck. Maybe your truck's paid for, maybe your vehicles are paid for, maybe your house is paid for, nearly paid for. Excuse me. And or you've got money in the bank that you can go in and see a doctor without and see a doctor without stressing about how are you going to pay for the medical bills if someone's sick, or needs a tooth or some kind of dental or health care. Because I've had a friend who their husband looked at her with 4 kids and said the 4 kids were sick this one winter. This was like 20 years ago. And 20 plus years ago, but regardless, looked at him and said, well, pick the sickest kid and take them in. That's all we can afford. That's what it got down to with her and him, was they could only afford to get 1 kid into the doctor. So that's, if your economy is allowing you to keep functioning, but keep the system at arm's length so you're not codependent on it. So, because if we all extracted ourselves from the system of what the government wants us to buy into, by being propagandized by the mainstream media, and people like me and others that are just like, oh, they're doom and gloomers, they're unpatriotic and all that. No, patriotic is you hold your own and you take care of you. Don't rely on the government and others in any which way to Sunday on functioning and living and surviving in the on this planet. But that seems to be the case for a lot of people. They their day is just fulfilled with making TikToks and say, look at me, look what I have, and yeah, I'm on welfare and I'm getting this much on assistance. I'll be glad when they just do away with that shit. For the majority, I think people that are terminally ill or very elderly should be the only ones getting it, not these deadbeats. And you look at these people, they get on TikTok, and they're the ones that live off the system. It's getting darker out now. The ones that are living off the system, why is it that those ones that are on welfare, food stamps and all that, why do they look like a 300-400 pound overweight sow? It's basically, it's just, these people, it's like, you bring nothing to the table for any man to be ever attracted to you. And these pigs that are out there that go around and say, well, I want a man with money and has got abs. And I'm like, you look like Miss Piggy that put some lipstick and a dress on and you're just walking around. And I'm sorry, but that's not for every man. You wonder why men are pulling back in this society. I see a lot of that rhetoric and talk. Girls anymore just don't bring nothing to the table from what I've seen in society. And they have all these demands, but as soon as a man puts a demand out there, it's like, oh, well, this is why we are feminists and this is why we're independent. All right, well, my wife was been right by my side and helped me build one business, and then we sold it, and now these businesses, and then now we're positioning to buy a second home and make a move to set ourselves up for our future, to to where we can live out our lives from this day forward into retirement right where we want to be, instead of being that person or people that when I retire, I'm going to travel here, I'm going to move here, like these Michiganders that always say, I'm going to snowboard to Florida, in the wintertime, this and that, or once I'm retired, I'm going to move here. And it's like, by the time they can get to it, their health is piss poor and they're about 1 foot in the grave. Or, well, I can't move, the kids or this and that. I've had people around my neighborhood say that, oh, I can't move because I got family here. And I'm like, I've told my family I'm fucking moving. So sorry, I'm out. Pick your nursing home. It's not my job. As I've told my kids, I will not let myself be positioned to where it ever becomes a burden on you. So we have both, my wife and I didn't realize that. It's getting dark quicker. Let's see if I can get some more lighting in here. But yeah, I just won't do that to my kids. And I'm just not that kind of parent. But the wife and I have got a bucket list, and it's just chapters of things to do. The biggest thing is going to be our mental and physical health that we are going to spearhead and take on first and foremost. And that is, we're going to make sure with me being around more and not being in the truck and out on the road, through the week and only being home for a couple of days, that we can do more things and be able to put more time into, a couple of our businesses, which will then eventually they're just going to grow and they're just going to be the cash flow for our investments, along with whatever I do on the side for a W-2 job. But we're pretty excited. And if we get good news this week, I probably will. I'll be out in the garage this week when I get home. I haven't heard yet. I'll be checking with the boss man probably Wednesday morning, see if they got a run. They had a run for me last week. He called me Tuesday and said, hey, you gonna have hours to get back? And I said, yeah. And he had to run down to Indiana to trailer load, direct run to one customer, unload it, and then come back. And I said, shit, yeah, day run. Yeah, I could do that. The next day he called and said, never mind. It was put on hold, so they're not going to take it. So it could be this week, or someone else could have taken it. I don't know. But I'm hoping something like that will come up this week and I turn around, at least go out on Thursday. So I'm going to be back Wednesday night. So some weeks I'm back on Wednesdays. The average, my average day back when I leave Sunday mornings, I'm usually back Thursday sometime, give or take. I came back on a Friday a couple times here in February due to the truck breaking down, and then the lift gate hung up for a half a day getting it fixed. But that's why I leave on Sundays, because I can get the route done. It'll allow me to still have that buffer room to get all my customers delivered for the week. So even if I got to stay out at the end of the week, I don't have the hours to get back. I can just do a 34, get back, drop and hook, and head back out. But it's just me thinking and just making sure I've got that buffer room to allow for breakdowns, flat tires, and whatever may come to a surprise. Because you don't know with these trucks, you never know what's going to happen out here. Get hung up for an hour and a half in a traffic accident, that has happened out on the road. I've seen highways get shut down and I've gotten stuck in them a couple times. But with the CV and all the other stuff I got, I've been able to dodge the bullet about 90% of the time with all that. So, but I've got steak and cheese burrito back here and some rice and steak. So I'm going to get that warmed up. I'll probably shoot from the house this week with that car and just do a quick walk around with it, kind of let people see it. It's been in the RK Auto Detailing, which is down in the description. I have a link to my auto detailing channel. And in that channel, you'll see that red car. I use that for a lot of stuff that I do, just for examples. But because with customer cars, I don't have time to set up production and tie the car up for an extra 4 or 5 hours. And, these people, they'll drop it off, say Saturday morning or Friday night, and just expect it back Saturday afternoon. So I don't like keeping them tied up. And then, unless they're really good friends of mine or family car, that I say, hey, can I keep the car an extra day so I can do some production on it? I've done that before on a couple of them in those videos, but yeah, so I'll probably shoot from there in the garage, and probably look for that maybe Friday. And I got to run and get taxes done. So that's what we did last week. We spent a half a day getting about a folder about yay thick full of tax documents and everything because of the business write-offs and all that other jazz. We spent that Thursday morning getting that, or no, that was Saturday. Friday. I'm getting my days screwed up. Thursday was the loan documents. So yeah, we're just getting positioned and trying to get everything kind of put behind us so I can start physically getting things done around the house and start making the move. So we're pretty excited about that. And like I said, this channel is going to evolve. You're going to see me evolve out of this truck and into a different work realm in time. And if you're the early subscribers and you're following the channel, you're going to see that. And, see a little bit more of what we do and what it really takes just to live comfortably without killing yourself or trying to, as they used to say, live like the Joneses and have a big house, big spread, new vehicles in the driveway. I think anymore, it used to be people really looked up to you on what you drove. When I grew up, like in the 70s and 80s, you drove a nice car. If you had a Trans Am, Camaro, nice lifted truck or something, you got envied. Girls foddered over that stuff. And now they give a shit if you showed up in a Dodge Neon right now. For the most part, most of them are like, dude, are you broke? Are you healthy? They just want to know that you're a good person. And, if they're a decent significant other. So, and I can see my lighting. I didn't set my lighting up because it was so sunny and bright. And actually, I had too much brightness coming in here when I started the stream now, because that's why I had this sitting here. But now, lighting's going down. I'll have to put it up next time and just have it for backup. So didn't think about that. But I'm going to cut you guys loose. Appreciate y'all being here. Stay safe. Continue educating yourself. Knowledge is learned and not taught. And look for me to drop one later this week. And we'll see you soon.